Hi, I'm Kevin Brown, and you're watching Visions for a Child's Heart.
Heavenly mothers crying, seas of children are dying at the hands of the other child. I know her heart is breaking, feel the earth is shaking, but rivers flow from the tears she cries. She cries, she cries. See Rachel's weeping for her children. Rachel's weeping. Somehow someone's got to save them. Save the children. And if you say that love the answer, why don't we begin? Or will we just end?
So while you were there in your study abroad program, there were students from all over the world.
Oh man, one of my roommates was from Pakistan.
Okay.
He was from Pakistan, and a couple of the others were Americans.
Okay.
And so there were 3 African American guys in the entire program, and then there were a couple, maybe 1 or 2 guys who happened to be of African descent from other parts of the world, but in the actual school. So it wasn't a lot of us, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing, because I mean we definitely clicked up. But again, I think that one of the biggest and best things about the program is actually getting to experience other people from other walks of life. Me and my roommate, his name was Solomon. He was a very nice guy. Like I said, he was from Pakistan, but he enlightened me about the Pakistani culture. And you know, we just had like a good time and just a good conversation. Then he also showed me his brother's wedding and the type of weddings and ceremonies and things like that they had there in Pakistan. And the colors were so beautiful, and everything was just so nice, and the celebration looked wonderful. And so, you know, it sparked my interest. So I'm asking more and more and more, and then I go to do the research. So now, if I'm ever talking to someone and the subject of Pakistani weddings comes up or anything like that, then I have a wealth of information. And so new knowledge is something that I always liked. And so now, okay, well now I know this. Okay, well now I need to go and research, weddings in Romania or something like that. And so you get to start understanding the world and how people do things in other parts of the world, and what really matters, what doesn't matter, what others are valuing, and things like that. And that all contributed to my evolution, because it was understanding the ways of life outside of the crest, outside of the Bay Area, outside of Atlanta, outside of America, and let's see how the world is.
One of the stories that stand out to me that when we talked while you were in London was you're going to this museum.
Oh.
Tell that story.
The Petrie Museum is in London, England, and they had this huge. Well, it wasn't huge. It wasn't the biggest museum, but it was upstairs in the building, and I went there because I was doing a research paper on textiles, Egyptian textiles. We had the opportunity to study different aspects of what do I want to call it, the evolution of fashion, the history of costume, and so I picked Egypt. A lot of people don't even know that fashion actually started in Egypt, because there was a time where everything was made from linen, which comes from the flaxseed. And so like in Egypt they actually had manufacturing plants and things like that. But also in the summertime they would have long linen pants, but you could detach the pants and turn them into shorts, and then the same thing for the tops. And then in the colder months, then you can actually put the sleeves and the bottom of the pants back on. So that was, that was really enlightening. But I went to this museum and I got to see all these different things, all these different pictures, and things from the tombs and from the pyramids and stuff. And when I was leaving, I was very, very enlightened, very impressed. The security guard said to me, he said, "I'm happy to see you here. You are literally he either told me I was the first person or the second person that has come there that has been black in the last 7 years." And I looked at him and I said, "Are you serious?" He said, "Yes." He said, "I haven't seen it." He said, "I've been working here for over 7 years and I've never seen
That's
anyone."
just amazing to me.
I was blown away
Yeah.
by that statement.
Was he black?
Yeah, and he was black.
Okay.
And the other thing, you know, you go to the British Museum and to some of these other museums in other places, and I mean, you would think that Egypt was actually in Britain. The amount of things that they have taken from the pyramids. I mean, they have some of the calligraphy and the paintings from the walls. They have embalmed cats, the embalmed mummies. I mean, everything. And, you know, it's so surreal because it's all there.
Wow.
And it's like, why is this stuff even here? You know, but you know, it's history, and you know, London's a great place to go and see a lot of Egyptian culture as well. And then they have like statues and things like that. But all this stuff was taken from Egypt and brought there. So.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, that just struck me. It's just so, and I don't know if we were talking on the phone or if you had sent it in the email, probably both, because you sent me some pictures that you had taken of some of the exhibits and things there. But that story just never leaves me, because I think that how much we can have access to, but when information is placed before us, we won't, you know, even just read a book, you know, a lot of times. So we're needing to increase that thirst for knowledge and information. And that's what I love, you know, about you and some of my other young people, those who were like, okay, you know, well, let me look at, and then you come back and I learned from you because there are things that I haven't. So you studied there and you got to go to the museum.
Egypt was great. I think that it was very enlightening. I actually got the native experience of Egypt. I didn't get the commercial. Someone that I was traveling with, that I was dating at the time, her friend was actually Egyptian. And so we were able to stay at her living quarters with her family, and we were getting in cabs, going to local restaurants, and then we went to the pyramids, and her brother-in-law showed us around. We went inside of the pyramids. It's so funny when you go inside the pyramids because it's actually a small, you go in, you go down, there's a level right here in the middle, and there's a chain door which is locked, but the pyramids go down deep into the ground. And so you get to this middle way where you can actually stand up because you have to go down bent. And so you're here in the middle, and then you go up like this again. And then that's where the tomb is, and there's writing on the wall on the inside, and then the actual tomb is here, and it's empty, but you can see where the mummy was. It's like this big concrete slab. Wow. It's pretty amazing.
Gosh, I haven't actually even had a chance to look at your pictures. I know you took some standing outside of them, but we haven't gotten to those yet. Amazing. So during that trip, you also went to...
I went to Paris, where I got to see a friend who I had known from my previous study abroad in England. Then we went to Barcelona, Madrid, and Rome. Roma, to see the Colosseum, which was amazing. It was nighttime, and it was definitely lit up nice, and you know, it was great cuisine, gelato, good experience there. Barcelona was amazing. I was so excited about Barcelona, I woke everybody up at about probably 6 a.m. and we were out all day. We took the tourist route, you know, with the buses. They have a blue line and a red line, so we took it everywhere. We went to the castles, walking around, grabbed food, on the beach, different places. I mean, like a million pictures. That was my place, and then Madrid was amazing too.
Now, you know what's interesting, because even prior to that, in our conversation, Spain came up. Do you remember, what is it that you have this affinity for Spain?
Well, I have a deep appreciation for the Spanish culture.
Okay.
And Spanish is a language that I do want to fully be able to speak fluently. And I had heard some of my friends talk about it. They had studied abroad, and I wanted to do it. And what's funny is the Colosseum, the school that was in Spain that I wanted to go to, that I got to see while I was there, with all of my vision board. And I had forgotten about it, but my vision board is always in my room, and so that subconscious thinking took me there, attracted me to it, and things on that board are actually being chipped off and checked off, and it's amazing because it's not that I look at the board every day, but some days I do just sit and just look at it and say, this is happening, this is going to happen, and slowly but surely, it's not necessarily an overnight process, but it is definitely taking place. It's definitely happening.
And we've talked about vision boards here before, and here is someone telling you that he has actually witnessed the impact of that, and you keep doing it. And as I mentioned with some of our guests before, I think for last year, for Foster Pride Month, we did Fostering a Vision, and we did vision boards. And it's just an amazing experience for me because when we took your trip for graduation, when I came back, I looked at my vision board, and that cruise line was on my vision board. And I didn't even, it's like, oh my gosh, I was just in shock. So I've done a few since then, but there's a lot to that. And I think, if you can believe it, you can, if you can conceive it, it's possible. So living your dreams. Like I told you, I said, well, you living your dream and my dream and everybody else's dream too. So I want to go back together. So you went to Spain, you went to Paris, you went to
Italy.
Italy. See, that's what I was jealous about because that's the only European country that I've ever really wanted to travel to.
Okay.
You beat me there.
Hey, it doesn't mean that it still can't be done.
No, it sure can. But what
It's
was
not a
that
race.
experience?
It's not a race.
No.
It's a love thing.
Okay, it's a love thing. We're gonna go all together.
All together.
Okay.
Right.
Take heart.
Exactly. It takes heart. It's hard work.
Speaking of which, I mentioned to you when I was talking about opening up homes in other countries because I was supposed to go to Haiti, then I was supposed to go to Nigeria, and I remember you saying, well, and I was saying I wasn't coming back or something like that. No, and you said, well, what about us at home? And do you remember what I said? I said, you're going with me.
Oh, right.
Because I really want our young people to get a sense of the world and who we really are, and to be able to travel. And I think even when we've had obstacles, especially our young people who've gone through the foster care system, you feel like life has been so horrible. But when you travel abroad and you realize that in comparison, and nothing takes away the pain in your heart. But when you look at what we've had, we talked about being appreciative. I remember we had a conversation about that at some point. But my goal is I want to travel and take our young people to be able to serve as well as to experience, just what the world has to offer. So that's my dream. That really is my dream, to be able to go. We could go back to the trip for your graduation because I didn't really tell a lot of people that. I have my reasons, but I remember when we got there, the first thing that happened before we even got on the cruise, this is interesting because this is new, and I have alopecia, and nobody had seen it, and I had my head covered, and they made me take my scarf and everything off. You remember when we were going to the, what is that called?
Customs.
Yeah, but it was even past we got customs, but everybody had to take everything off, and and you said, just take it off so we can go. You remember that? Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I took it off and put it on. It was like, it was no big deal. But I remember when we got, past all of that and we got on the cruise and it was like a whole nother world on the ship. And you were looking around, you said, I could get used to this. You sure did. It's like, you don't remember that?
Nah,
you said,
funny.
I could get used to that. I could just see you just soaking it all in. It's like, oh yeah, he gonna be used to this.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was definitely like one of the best. That was some of the best exposure that I've had. I feel like it was a walk into a different type of lifestyle. And, it's not one that you have to indulge in every single day, but it's one, that thing, that exposure, and just having that experience. It makes all the difference because you know what life can be about, or what life can be, and what you can do. Because had we not went, I'll probably still to this day. I haven't been on a cruise since.
Really?
Actually,
I haven't either.
I want to go on a cruise, but.
I got a couple lined up. Didn't you also go? You went to Jamaica during spring break one year, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I have a card that I wrote to you in 2007 that I still haven't mailed to you.
Get out of here.
It's like, and I refused to throw it away.
Okay, thank you.
But I didn't. I still haven't mailed that card to you, and I was actually looking at it, and it's because I always get scared to call you and ask you for your address, and then I'm like, she's gonna be like, when's the last time this boy went to Jamaica? But the car's like, you can tell I've had it for a while. You can tell I had it for a while, so I'm gonna have to eventually mail it to you.
Well, I do have my photo album.
Okay.
You sent me a photo album to tell me to put my pictures from Jamaica in there.
Okay.
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 Yeah. But those are the kinds of things that I really want our young people to be able to experience, to enjoy. For me, for us as the village. And there's so many things that we can do if we work together. So it can be fun. Everything doesn't have to be totally serious, but
Right.
everything in life adds to our experiences and to who we are. And so, and as a, I won't even say as a result, in the meantime, there's other things that you've done, that you're doing, and I know that your goals will just get bigger and bigger. I mean, you talking about asking me for my address. Yeah, every time you ask for my address, I figure you're getting ready to go somewhere. Because I said, so are you ready to go somewhere? Will you just give me the address, please?
Yeah.
And of course, then,
Yeah.
what do? I get a postcard from Barcelona, Spain. It's like, didn't even tell me he was going, just being all grown and everything. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to Kevin's experiences. One of the things I have to say, what did I do with my cards? That we have a greeting card line, and Kevin told somebody to not let me take pictures of them because they end up on a card. You told somebody that when we had our golf tournament. So, but these are first of our greeting cards. And this was Kevin's graduation. And so if you want to order cards, I thought it was important to have pictures of young people that represent the community. And this says, congratulations, through your determination, hard work, and tenacity, you did it. I knew you could do it, and I'm so proud of you. So if you want to order graduation cards, because we're at that time of year, Heart Talk Publications, www.hearttalkpublications.com. So this is Kevin on the front when he had his dress, that cap, gown. I just love that. And then this is one with him and Mr. Graham, and we split the proceeds with this with the Continental of Omega's Boys and Girls Club. And this is one, and it says, you were given a success story, and you put yourself in it. And on the inside it says, you've always been quite a character. Today I am proud to witness your being the main character in your own book of life and success.
Wow.
Yes. And actually there's another one out there that says, I can tell you're going places, and I'll be there to applaud you when you get there. Because you have a backpack on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
So
right,
actually,
right.
yeah, we have 3 cards here, and so other people say, he's just the Hall of Fame guy for heart. It's like he's my poster boy. He's our first. He's
And
the
favorite.
first. And favorite, he says. See, I get in trouble when I say that around other people. Everybody's my favorite. And actually, my line is,
That's not nice.
that's not nice?
It's not the truth. Everybody, that is so misleading. That is so misleading. It's a favorite here.
Okay. So I tell him that my favorites are the ones that I hear from the most.
Don't believe it.
Anyway, this has been a lot of fun. I'm so glad that, we've got to spend this time together, and I'm just more than proud of you. Keep doing the great work. Keep inspiring the young and the old alike. And anything you want to say to the adults in the village or the children? So we got 2 minutes.
I think that, it's very important just to remember that oftentimes we're diamonds in the roughest form. And so, pressure bust pipes or it makes diamonds. So, diamonds in the rough, just try to be a bit understanding, that we might not get it all right then that second, but we're definitely listening and taking note. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of kindness and being non-judgmental. And I'll stick around you, loyal, very, very loyal. But, after going through different transitions and things like that, I think sometimes kids, we have to find that person and we have to build that relationship of trust. So I think it's very important to keep in mind what the adults were like that you liked when you were a kid. And then if you're that type of person, then we'll automatically gravitate to you and take heed. Because we know that, those in the village, they want to see us do our best. But oftentimes they have to meet us where we are so that we can rise together. And it's big.
Beautiful. Anything to the young people?
Live your dreams. Don't let anybody else tell you where you are. Your block or where you're from is cool, but it's so much bigger, man. Life is beautiful, and man, whatever you want to be, just go and get it. If you never give up, then you can never not get
fail.
it. Yeah, you can never fail if you never give up.
Right.
So do you, but do you in a positive light, man, and make sure you leave that legacy that you can be proud of and that everybody else can too. I got on a plane and I sit next to this older gentleman, and you could tell that we were supposed to talk, but we didn't figure out what we were going to talk about. So like we had looked at each other a couple times, but nothing had been said. And then something like small talk was made, and he asked me where I was coming from. I told him from Mississippi, but I'm headed back home. He said, "Oh, where's home?" Vallejo. Or was it the other way around? I think I asked him because he had just moved to Wisconsin, and he moved to Wisconsin from Vallejo. And I said, "Oh, no." I told him I was from Vallejo. He said I used to work in Vallejo. I said, "Oh, really? Where about?" And he said I forget the exact name for the facility. I don't want to say a medical facility because that's not what it is. It's a residential facility.
Okay.
I said, "Oh, really? Where about?" He says, "Over on Broadway." I said, "On Broadway near Vallejo High School?" He says, "Yes." I said, "Oh, wow." I said, "I was one of your residents many years ago in that place." And he said, "Wow, really?" I said, "Yes." And so he says, "Well, if you don't mind me asking, what is it that you're doing now? How are you doing now since you've been out?" And when he said that, I could tell that he wasn't expecting the type of answer that he was going to get from me. And so I told him, I said, "Well, actually, I'm doing phenomenal. I was there when I was about 7 years old in first grade, and then I left." And I told him, that I'm a public speaker, college graduate, et cetera, et cetera. And so he was actually kind of blown away. And he said, "Well, I'm glad that you're doing well for yourself." And so we exchanged cards by the end of the flight. I mean, we talked for a little while, during the flight, and it felt really good to be able to talk to him kind of like on a peer level and not necessarily be someone who was striving to
be like him or something.
well, not necessarily striving to be like him, but someone who didn't fulfill their dreams or their potential, and then to be looking at this guy because he was like a past director of this job, of that same facility, but he was looking at the product of the type of work that he did, the positive outcome. And that's another reason why, I really went with the name Legacy, is because you decide what you're going to be. You decide where you're going to go. And I didn't ever want to look back at those who invested in me and say, and have them say, Kevin, he could have, or, Kevin ended up back in the Crest. And I had several opportunities to blow it. But, it takes that restraint, that discipline, that understanding of responsibility, and just responsibility of those who broke down barriers for you before. All of these different labels. And that's what the brand within talks about, is it talks about labels. All of the labels that people try to put on you. But I'm a firm believer that there's two types of people in this world, those who are labeled and those who are branded. And a person who's labeled lets the world tell them who they are and what they're going to do with their lives. But a person who's branded stands up and tells the world who they are and what they're going to do with their lives. And so with those two principles, it was very rewarding to sit and speak with this guy and be a brand. Versus all of those labels that were on my medication, that were on foster kids, that were in my files, et cetera, et cetera. So it was really good. I actually had another great experience. I was speaking at the National Foster Parent Association Conference on the 7th in Los Angeles, and I met a young lady from San Francisco County. And, I'm originally from San Francisco. So I'm talking with her. I said, "Oh, wow, do you know Gloria Anthony Oliver?" She says, "Yeah, I know Gloria." I said, "Really?" She was my caseworker since I was a kid. And she said, "Oh, wow." I said, "Do you have a number for her?" She said, "Well, I have the office number." I said, "Oh, can I have it?" And so I call and I get transferred to her. I say, "Gloria," she says, "Hello." I said, "Well, do you know who this is?" She's like, "No." I was like, "You got to guess." She said, "Ronnie?" I said, "No, not Ronnie." I was like, "I'll tell you my city, Vallejo." She said, "Vallejo." And so she sits and she thinks for a little while. She goes, "Kevin?" I said, "Yes." And she says, "Oh my goodness, what have you been doing? What have you been up to?" And I'm saying to her, "Well, I met your colleague and I'm a speaker here at this conference." And she says, "Oh, well, if you're at that conference, I know you're up to something good." And so I tell her about my book and, what I've been doing and, as far as public speaking and going to college and all these different things. And she's like, "Well, we definitely have to do lunch while you're here in the Bay Area. But again, that was one of those rewarding feelings of, you know, being that brand and actually showing her what her experience, you know, brought to me, that village, you know, because she was always my county worker. I didn't see her often at all, but she was always my county worker, and she really made sure that I was okay. And it was just good to call her and be able to speak to her from a position of self-sustainability, I want to say. You know, because success is different for everybody, and you know, it's always your own interpretation of what success is. But it was definitely nice to be able to speak to her from the position that I am versus being in a different one.
Yes.
So it was rewarding.
Wow.
I tweeted that too, because it was humbling for me, and what was also humbling was to speak in front of the foster parents. And I thought that the message that I got across to those foster parents, they all walked out of there fired up. The one lady, a couple of them said that I should have been a keynote speaker at that conference. But what I really felt was, I felt honored and humbled because I didn't know that foster parents go to these conferences in order to become better parents and in order to understand, you know, the kids. But I felt like I might have offered the most realistic approach to dealing with foster care children, you know, there. But that was a humbling experience that they came to listen to me, you know, foster parents, because, you know, I've had my ins and outs, ups and downs with foster parents myself, but yeah, that was amazing.
And that's what this is all about. That's what Visions is all about. That's what's Heart Talk with Miss E is all about, and that's what Heart Talk Publications. Because I realized in my trying to advocate for youth that I can't tell it like you can.
Right.
And I could go places and share, you know, about the young people and tell stories, but until they meet you.
Right.
You know, they met you, they met Princess, they met, you know, a lot of my other young people, and then all of a sudden everybody's on fire, and it's like, well, that's what I've been saying all along, but I can't tell it like you can. So my whole goal now is just to create a platform.
Okay.
So whether it's to speak, whether it's to, you know, the radio, television, or through print, that's my goal. And so I'm just really proud just to be able to sit back now and just to watch it and just enjoy it and just continue to give you love.
Okay.
So there it is. There's nothing really else to be said. Don't give up. That's just all I can say to our adults. Don't give up on our youth. And I just said our babies, our hearts. And for our young people, don't let anybody tell you who you are. You create that within yourself, and that you're here for a purpose, regardless of what your circumstances were at birth, regardless of who your biological parents are, where you lived. You know, it doesn't matter, because you are here for a purpose, and we want you to fulfill it. So thank you for listening. Do something special for a child's heart. God bless. Bye-bye.
Heavenly mothers crying, seas of children are dying at the hands of the other child. I know her heart is breaking, feel the earth is shaking, but rivers flow from the tears she cries. She cries, she cries, so Rachel's weeping for her children.